For February the 10th, 2017, we talk about Invisible Ink, Discord's community problems, and we ask you which games would make for good bonus levels. Welcome to level 184. My name is Cole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm Jala Prendes.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast where, for people who love video games. I just about said where people love video games, and that doesn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, we do. But that makes it about us, and I don't...
Watch us caress these video games.
Yes.
Except you can't. It's a podcast. Damn it!
There is nothing you can do about it. Yeah, no, it's... that's what we do and who we are. No, I'd rather it be for people as opposed to like, hey, this is a place where we gather to it's just weird. Oh, I'm tired and feel weird. So I'm trying to think of the banter at the start of this. It's one of those. Go.
I'm running a new charity race.
Okay.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Okay. So I got talked into this by a barista at the coffee place I go to because it's a nonprofit coffee place that works for Free the Captives, which is a nonprofit that funds aftercare for people who have been freed from sex trafficking. And people who don't know, Houston is the worst in the country about sex trafficking. It is the number one location for like top amount of sex trafficking. And especially with having had the Super Bowl here this year, it's a really, really big deal. And there have been lots and lots of news stories cropping up about it and all of that. Yeah. So on April 22nd, I am dressing up as Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan version, and I'm going to be running a superhero 5K fund, raising funds for, again, this particular nonprofit. So, and 10 to 15% of the child human trafficking is for boys, many of whom are transgender. So it kind of affects everybody, men, women, little kids, everybody. And, it's a big problem, and it's a problem that Houston is the worst about. So this is the best place for that to be right at the moment because there's so much of it that comes through this city. So I have a donation link pinned to my Instagram profile, and on the top of my Twitter feed, you can find me on both places at Jalachan. So, that's one of the ways that... Now. Probably.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Maybe.
What do you think I am? Some kind of monster? Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a thing. And I even posted to my Instagram and therefore Twitter and Facebook and wherever a photo of me next to like a picture of Ms. Marvel so you can see, compare whatever. I do have, the costume on its way to my house. No, I am not making my costume. I don't have time for that shit, but I will run. So...
Nice. Well, yeah, that is a very good cause. You don't need me to say that, but yeah, it is a very good thing. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. I'm trying to think of other stuff on top of it. I don't want to crowd that out. We can talk about admin stuff at the end, unless anybody has any cool stories or stuff. Yeah, let's do the games. Let's do it. Yeah. So let's get right into it. We've got the regular kind of show for you, the brief, the multiplayer, and the grind, and we're going to get started with the brief, where we talk about things that are happening in the world of video games around us. Other podcasts would call this the news section. Ben,
fuck those guys.
We like briefs, damn it.
What do they know?
Ben, I'm curious about this. I'm curious about this portal thing. I had no idea it was a thing they were doing.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious about it too because I don't know how it works. So I had just seen like posts of this on Reddit, but it's they're making a Portal for the Holo-Lens, which is Microsoft's new thing. I don't really know much about the Holo-Lens. I know it's something that they've been working on for a while and tinkering with, but it's basically like AR essentially. So like there's I guess a couple different companies that are focusing on AR. A lot of people say that might be something that replaces VR, where it's more like kind of like maybe like Google Glass type peripheral, and it's just projecting things on top of what you're already seeing, so it kind of displays things dynamically.
Yeah.
So apparently one of the games that they've worked on, or one of the demos that they worked on for this, is Portal. And from the demo video that they show, it's kind of like a basic version of the Portal where it basically can look at the environment and read like what stairs look like, or like what hallways and walls look like.
Holy crap, yeah.
And you can play Portal in the environment that you're in and like shoot on the wall, and like you can do the regular tricks that you can do in the game where you can put a portal on the ceiling, on the floor, and like make it shoot up a bunch of velocity, and then put it on the wall and it'll fly out and it'll like hit against another wall. The only limiting thing I see so far is that they don't have is in the portals there, you cannot see through them like you can in the video game, which makes sense. Yeah. Like, I don't I don't
if
know
you watch
how
to the very end of the video, the guy actually tries to jump through it and just smacks into the wall. It's pretty good. No.
But
that would be my temptation.
That's pretty in line with some of the other like VR goofs videos I've seen.
Yeah, I the thing I'm impressed with here is the fidelity with which it can do this, because it's got the cube like rolling down a set of stairs, and you can see it like bouncing and rotating off of individual stairs as it's going down.
That was the part that wrinkled my brain, actually. That like I was watching this, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, oh no, this is totally like sensing surfaces with that level of granularity. It's nuts.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
So almost as, since this is very close to the banter section, I also had a friend come into town this week, and she works at an AR company called, actually, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't edit this off. Works for an AR company that's working stuff in development. I won't say what it is, but like that stuff sounds like really like out there and really cool, because there's like apparently a lot of like machine learning behind it to like be able to figure out what everything is that you're looking at and process it really quickly. Yeah. So it seems super interesting. So.
Yeah, I'm into it. I'm more excited about AR than VR, and that's not like an effort to be a snob. That's more just because it seems less claustrophobic to me. Mm-hmm. You know, so yeah,
more sanitary.
What's a related note to banter also, since I'm dressing up as Miss Marvel. I also, when I went to PAX, I saw like a basically Chell sleepwear. so I have like Chell sleepwear, and I just got it recently. So you can also see that on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. So
does it come with the heel springs?
No, but I have socks that look like the
nice.
Whatever.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
yeah, no. So just get a HoloLens, and you're halfway there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I already look the part.
You're 100% there.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Dennis, we should tag team this stuff about Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yeah, it's on the dome for both of us. Why don't you start and I can jump in?
Yeah. So it's pretty bizarre how Nintendo is taking this scattershot kind of approach to monetizing these, to making money off of these mobile games. I kind of blanch to think of how they're going to try and squeeze money out of people for Animal Crossing. You have Tom Nook insert a joke there about the Racketeer Raccoon. Racketeer Raccoon. That's pretty good. Who shakes you down. So like Super Mario Run, you'd pay them $10 for the full unlock. You pay for consumables with Pokemon Go. Fire Emblem Heroes, it has a free-to-play thing where you can buy orbs. And you know how I feel about orbs. Yeah, about getting orbs, which is good. You get orbs to unlock an anime. They're now announcing that the Nintendo plans to like every couple of weeks, every couple of weeks they're going to be releasing actually like DLC, like campaign stories for people to play, and I think as long as they're interested, maybe.
That's impressive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how much work is going to have to go into it. Like, I kind of wonder if it's going to be like just little mix and match mission pack kind of things as opposed to actual narrative. But I haven't played Fire Emblem Heroes, so I have no idea. But like, again, this is them trying to see what works. And And I'm going to alley-oop over to you, Dennis, to talk about these heroes, because
I have played it. Oh,
It's a weird thing to owe about.
Well, I have played it. The story is light but coherent, which is kind of what you want for a mobile game. Like, the idea is that you're in this world, and I know nothing about Fire Emblem, so I'm sorry, because everyone who does is probably going to start like screaming at their speakers as they're listening to this. But the lore is like, you're one of two kingdoms in this world, and your kingdom can open portals to other dimensions. The other kingdom can close them, and you used to be in this really like harmonic relationship and allies. But then the other kingdom decided to betray you, let you open a bunch of portals, and then refuse to close them, and instead started using it to like harvest, heroes or people from these other worlds to build their army, and hence the idea that all these characters from various Fire Emblems are coming together to do battle. And so you are the brilliant tactician who's going to lead the resistance against the bad guys to get these portals closed. And that's about as much as there is to story. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's people showing up and be like, "Hey, I'm so and so from this game. Remember me? Now you got to fight me." And it doesn't really go beyond that.
Right.
So, but again, that's kind of what I want from a mobile game. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing though is, since you are getting all these characters from other Fire Emblem games, people clearly have their favorites.
Right.
Everybody wants Marth.
Yeah,
or whatever. Go ahead. People
want the one with the red hair, but with the green cloak, as opposed to the one with the red hair, but the blue cloak.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
The sprites do look very much samey, and each one gets kind of splash art that is a little more unique. But you see it for literally a split second before they attack, and that's it. Yeah. So you're exactly right. But Marth is Marth, and people who want him are gonna want him, and not just to get him, but to get the 5-star version of him, because of course there's like a 1 through 5-star version of each character. So
you want to get the shiny Marth.
Exactly. Yeah, shiny Marth. The best way to do that, people have found, is actually to quote unquote re-roll your first section of the game over and over until you get the characters that you want. So you talked about getting orbs. And if you start the game, play through the tutorial, it will load you up with enough orbs to do one like full out, most efficient version of, getting a character pack, which is a random assortment of characters and a random assortment of star levels. So, it's like buying a pack for Magic the Gathering. You don't know what you're going to get.
Are you guaranteed like a 4-star or higher or something if you buy these? That's another like Magic thing.
Yeah, I've gotten at least 1 4-star in every pack that I've opened, or both packs that I've opened, let's be honest, so far. But I don't know if it's guaranteed or not. It has a table with the percentage chance of getting each, but I don't know if there's ever a guarantee of a certain level, just lowering percentages.
Gotcha.
And for reference, the super rare characters are a 3% chance. And then I think within that, you have to worry about star levels of characters, right? So what people are doing is they're downloading the game, playing through the tutorial to get enough orbs to open their first pack. And that's the fastest you're ever going to get orbs in the game, right? Open that first pack and see what they get. And if they don't like it, they completely delete the app off their phone, re-download it, which this is not a small app. This is like 30 megs.
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's pretty heavy. And play through the tutorial again, try again, doing this 5, 8, 10 plus times until they get a set of characters from the initial pack that they are happy with, either because it has the person that they want or because it's a bunch of 5-star characters or, you name it, which is just insane to me. But
yeah,
just again, talking about Nintendo trying out these different free-to-play systems, they're kind of stumbling into some weird behavioral incentives as they do that.
Yeah. No, it just makes me think how hopeless it is to like play test anything or to like try and optimize an experience. Because no matter what, no matter how I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of like filling bootleg liquor with wood alcohol. Like, oh, this will make it unpleasant, so people won't drink this because they don't want to go blind. Well, they're still going to fucking drink it, or they're going to find a way to like get rid of it. If you have something like this in there where people can like metagame to like get something rare, like that is degenerate behavior.
Yeah.
And like, there's no stopping them.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It really, honestly, it's only maybe a 10-minute investment to get through that prologue or that tutorial. And that's, I recently upgraded to 100 meg internet. Thank you very much. So the download, didn't take that long for me. I didn't re-roll just because I don't care that much. But you're not looking at someone who's putting in like an hour for every single re-roll.
Yeah. I will say it's not completely on the user, because it's like you're making a game that's like very tied to like dopamine release, and so it seems like that type of behavior kind of arises as a response to that sort of environment.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I guess that's not what I mean. I put it all on the player, but it's like, oh, you if you're going to make this kind of game, people are going to go for it.
Yeah. People are going to find the most efficient way, whether you intended it to be the most efficient way or not.
Yeah. It just seems like a bad experience. If I saw people doing this, it'd be like, come on, guys. Stop playing with the box. Yeah. Are you going to talk more about that in the grind?
Yeah, I mean, I can say it here because I don't have much more to say.
Give me a couple sentences on
So it's a grid, and again, I know nothing about old Fire Emblem, so I don't know if this is just like other Fire Emblem games or a complete departure. It's grid-based combat. Your squad of 4 versus their squad of 4. You can move and attack a certain number of squares in any direction, and there's kind of a rock paper scissors aspect to it as well, where red characters beat green characters, beat blue characters, beat red characters.
Yeah, this sounds very much like the Fire Emblem games I've played.
Yeah, so it's probably a pretty faithful recreation. It's been fun to play on its own merits. So versus outside of the dopamine squirts of getting new shiny objects, be it a hero feather or an orb or a red shard or a green shard or a yellow shard or any of the 600 different kinds of currency in the game. Like, the game itself is fun to play. Mm-hmm. And I have not. It's got like a stamina counter where you can only play so many games in a row. But I haven't run up against that at all. I think you'd probably have to invest like an hour straight playing before you hit it.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten there, so that hasn't been a limiting factor.
Yeah.
That's about all there is to say with it. It's been fun.
Yeah.
It's felt very fair, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think whether or not you hit the energy cap or how easy it is to hit the energy cap is probably the best marker for these things.
Yeah, and it's I've played for probably 15 to 20 minutes at a time and gotten nowhere near the cap. So
I mean, that's a shitload of time for a mobile game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels surprisingly robust. Like, the only concession, and again, I don't know if this is normal for Fire Emblem, is you can't parse out your moves and your attacks. So like there are some situations where I want a character to be on a certain, standing on a certain square. But to have them get buffed before they attack, they need to kind of stop on a square they're moving past to get there. But you kind of have to move and attack all in one fluid motion.
Yeah.
Whereas, if I was using like the XCOM philosophy of, I can break it up, move everyone, and then attack with everyone, I could maybe set up some more elaborate strategies. This kind of forces you get one action with the character that is all inclusive of a move and an attack, or a move and a buff, or a move and a heal, or whatever.
Yeah, and you can't just jump around and like use action points or whatever. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, neat. Jala, let's talk about something that's not so neat. Tell me, like, what the fuck's up with Discord?
Yeah, so Discord apparently only has one customer experience staffer for every 5 million
Holy
users.
Jesus.
And therefore, there have been many cases of daily raids of alt-right people dropping into unsuspecting servers and trolling hate messages, doxing, which, if you don't know what that is, it's publicly posting personal info like addresses and phone numbers, shit like that. So 4chan's Paul Room is apparently being used to coordinate some of these raids of 1,000+ members that just like all en masse, like just go and just jump into like a religious chat or a chat that's run by leftists or something, and just like drops in on it, or LGBT, like, whatever, like they just drop in on somebody that they just generally don't like and just send hate messages or whatever. A Muslim chat server that was mentioned in the article has over 1,000 stable users, but has nearly banned 1,300 users. So one of the admins for that server says it feels like a besieged city. Sometimes the trolls come in waves. Other times it's just a few guys that run scripts to drop shock porn and hate messages, that keep on posting over and over again, like 70 times in a row. Sometimes, of course, like it's in the religion, gender and orientation, and other usual topics that the alt-right hates for whatever reason. There are some ways that admins are trying to basically do their own police work, because where they only have one customer service person for every 5 million users, Discord itself is not doing all that much right at the moment. One method that's being used is basically to generate containment rooms. When someone first joins, they see, for example, like a welcome room and an about room, and then they have to wait for an admin to review, say, their personal, social media sites and things like that, to see that they're a legit person and everything. That's elegant. And then and then from there, then they will give them access to the other stuff. So that's one way, because everybody else who uses these servers would basically just mute those channels and not even look at them.
Right.
Another method is to use a bot that enables slow mode, where messages in a channel that are displayed are only dropped in at a really, really slow rate. So the people who like go in there and mass spam everything can't fill up the whole, crowd out the entire channel. There are also bots who engage raid mode and lockdown, so that mods have a chance to kick or ban troublemakers. They also have been disabling the @everyone message functionality.
That's just good policy.
Yeah, that should not be on to start with.
Yeah.
And apparently you can report this kind of abuse to Discord, but there isn't anything in the UI that has a report function. So nobody really knows about this, but there is a way to report it. So I know that there are a lot of listeners who do use Discord, and I don't know if they use it for anything other than games, or if this is a thing that happens in some of the gaming channels as much. I know that mostly it's been for, other types of chat channels, at least so far. I'm sure there's problems in everywhere, though.
Yeah.
So forgive my ignorance. I only know Discord from the Duckfeed stuff. Isn't it all like private rooms, or is there like public, anyone can get in?
It, like any individual server, people can set it to be something different. We set ours up for the Team Fortress thing specifically to be as locked down as possible, to like have people get into it through the site, like, with a particular kind of code. What these people are doing, it's kind of like setting up a public Slack. It's like exactly like a Slack, except more geared toward voice chat. And also with a worse user experience, in my opinion. And
the really sad thing is, I thought better than what Twitter does.
but I mean, like Twitter, everybody's pissing into a big pool. Like Discord has given everybody the tools to like make their own little pools. So what'll happen is like a streamer will have a Discord set up for their community or something like that, and they'll just have a button on their site or on below their stream where somebody can click that and then download the client or go to the website and then just like log in and do their chats. The problem is when you get stuff like, there's this one article. So the article that Jala is pulling this from, it's a Gizmodo kind of like long form kind of feature about this. Like there's a Christian Discord called Christcord that has had to ban 200 people, even though their community is only 300 people large.
Yeah.
The question is how many of the people they've had to ban are like the same person doing multiple accounts.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that's mentioned in the article too, is that it's so easy to just make alt accounts that, like it's not really
that easy to ban these people for good. They're going to come back if they are that determined and whatnot. But there is, like I said, there is a way to report to it. It's just not apparent in the actual UI. It's not built into the UI. Yeah. According to Discord, they say that their response time is 1 hour versus the industry standard for this type of chat
never
service
if you're Twitter
of 22 hours for something like Discord or Skype or whatever. Yeah. But most people aren't even aware, again, that there is this reporting function. If anyone has a problem, and I'm saying this just in case listeners have had to come across this, you can email abuse@discordapp.com, and that's how you can report it. But again, like the one of the things that the article closes out with is that basically right now Discord has the chance to set the tone for how things are going to be. Like, they have the ability to put it on lockdown and say no and do, step up about it. But what they're going to actually do, we don't know. Like, they may do nothing. It may just be like a Reddit situation where it's so ambiguous that, like where the line is, that there's not really any policing going on or what.
I mean, they're doing worse than Reddit right now because Reddit at least shut down the alt-right subreddit specifically because it started doxing people. Like, like that is the bare minimum that you can do, and every minute that you wait makes it a minute more too late. But it's still something there. There's a screenshot in here of the like the splash screen for the alt-right, or for the /poll, which is the politically incorrect board from 4chan, of their of their rules channel. And if you look in the sidebar, they've got a couple of channels here, like general _2. I don't know why they need two generals. Red pill statistics, iron pill workout. I don't know what the iron pill is. And at the very bottom, below the raids and Christianity channels, there's one that's NatSoc General, NATSOC, which, if you're thinking, that sounds familiar. Oh, National Socialism. They have a channel about discussing Nazism in general.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some sites like IMDb just shut down their entire message board specifically because that was the place where shitheads would like put together harassment campaigns against actresses.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or directors, or pick your poison.
Yeah. So basically, that's a thing, and just be aware of it, people who are listening, because I know so many of the people listening do use Discord. This is a thing that you just might want to be aware of and might want to, kind of pay attention to.
Yeah.
That'll be sad if the internet becomes read-only.
I mean...
Yeah. Would it, though?
Like
or at least to earn your right to be able to, stuff in here. Good Lord.
Having an unsecured text box is kind of akin to... I was about to say leaving a window open, like leaving a huge hole blown in the side of your house.
Mm-hmm.
Through which looters can come in and spray paint swastikas on everything. It's shit.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. It would suck if all of that just went away. But like, man, oh man, the harassment is no good.
Yeah, it's out of hand, and that's basically where this article's coming from is just like, this is a thing, and Discord needs to do something, but they're not doing anything right now. So they don't even, and it sucks that they don't even have reporting built into their UI anywhere. I mean, that needs to be like a staple, of your service when you have this kind of, interaction going on. So
I have to imagine that in their heads, at least when they were setting this up, they thought, okay, we're allowing the creation of all of these different communities, and it'll be the community's problems, even though the people who are doing this are not exploiting the community's rules or the structure they've set up. They're exploiting the platform itself. Yeah. I don't know. This will sound smug. I'm sorry. This will sound self-congratulatory. I'm sorry. I'm very happy that we don't have to deal with this with our community. I'm not challenging anybody to try it or do anything right now. Things are pretty cool, and we don't have to deal with this from some kind of thing. Yeah.
That's not self-congratulatory. That's listener congratulatory. You guys are freaking awesome. And thanks for not putting us through this shit.
Go ahead, Jala.
I for all of the people who have heard me make the comments about I have had lots of shit going on in the last several months.
Yeah.
And I've had to deal with probably more rolling problems and medical things and family problems and everything. And now at this point in time, more than the last time I had to deal with this much stuff at once, I am in probably the best position I've ever been in insofar as having a support network because of our wonderful community.
Yeah.
So, thanks to everybody listening and everybody who's not listening, or everybody who will listen to this like 5 months from now when they catch up on their podcasts.
Yeah.
Thanks to all of you guys for being awesome.
Yeah.
I know Dennis already said it. I know Kole said it in his own way, but like whatever. Yeah. And Cole's special little way of doing the thing.
Oh.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer, where we ask you a question and you answer it. This one is talking about a little bit of business, isn't it? We're getting some requests. Dennis, what is the question that you asked the nice people?
Yeah, at the behest of John, who suggested this question, so thanks, John, suggested that we talk about bonus levels, which we haven't done for a bit, but we do periodically. And I seem to understand that WAF is going to move more towards kind of a general book club for video games format, right?
Yeah, that shouldn't step on this too much, though. We might need to, I will know if we're planning to cover something in the immediate future, but most of it's going to be mostly older things. We're just giving ourselves permission to not feel bad about doing something new.
And that's more just that it is a good format, and it's a fun thing to do, and so we should talk about the games that would be worth taking that kind of look at.
Yeah. So I will start out here. David writes in saying, as one of the most often mentioned games on the podcast, I would say Resident Evil 6. That's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Haven't we already hashed and rehashed that whole damn game like enough? Haven't you heard enough about this game?
I'm pretty sure we haven't spoiled it.
I have not played it. Yeah, I have not played the game.
Oh my God, Ben, why? Where have you been?
I'm the last holdout, so that we can keep talking about it for another year.
Yeah, that's true, Ben. Oh my God, where are both of you? Oh, yeah, I don't. All right, so anyway.
It's been like 3 years since I played it, or 4 years, whatever. Yeah.
But Kole, you're gonna play that game with me.
Yes.
You already said that thing, so yeah, it's got to happen now. That was non-committal.
No. I said yes. I was thinking like when that could actually happen, and I don't know.
Recording next week on Tuesday, so Tuesday that can happen.
Let's take a look. We've got that other thing that we're working on too, though. The thing we're going to be announcing soon that we also need to make a decision about. Jala, what does Eric say?
Oh, I don't know. What does Eric say? Says
Who's
final
not prepared now?
No, I had to unmute my Skype because I muted it for a second because my phone was, and then I had to give Kole some shit, and then I just forgot to click back to the screen. And I already answered the question anyway. I said Final Doom. He said Final Doom, and that's all he said. He didn't give like any long-winded whatever.
No,
to the.
Eric's a Doom boy. If Ben liked the more recent Doom more, that would have been a good category. Final Doom, is that the one on N64? No, that's Doom 64. Final Doom is a different thing.
Yeah, yes. On PlayStation, Windows. PlayStation originally, it looks like.
Yeah,
came out in '96. Yeah. Apparently, there's a version for the PS3 as well.
Oh yeah, they bet you they reissued it.
Yep.
Huh. Ben, what does OMG Moose say?
OMG Moose says, obligatory Dark Souls. Oh ho ho. But really, I agree with David that Resident Evil 6 would be a great choice for how often it's mentioned.
Show.
So that's 2 for Resident Evil 6. Dennis, how about Brandon?
Brandon suggests that he would love to see us play Wolfenstein: The New Order.
A lot of id being represented here, actually.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty... I need to play that, especially because it is a game people keep talking about. Like, I thought that it was just going to be people who were like surprised that it was good.
I have that game. I think I have that game just sitting in my backlog, downloaded on my computer, waiting for me to play it. It's one of those 50 million games I've got.
I'm actually in the same boat as well, so that could be feasible for me as well.
Yeah, Moneysmith played it, I think, and liked it. So
yeah,
good
so
stuff.
did Sam.
Good one. Let me see here. Pick it back up with Franz, who says Alpha Protocol or Dishonored if you bring Dennis. Both of those have been done on WoF. And also,
take me back.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you wish this kind of violence on your friend Dennis. We've done both of those on WoF, and I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if I would be excited to recover that ground.
Yeah.
Didn't you interview Chris Avalone for the Alpha Protocol?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Yep,
good stuff right there.
There's a little bit of.
Well, the Franz might not have known it existed, so go check that out.
Yeah,
You've got the episode you wished for already.
That happened below as well. We'll get to that one.
Our episode log is pretty deep at this point, so I don't blame anyone for not being intimately familiar with what we've done and what we haven't.
Right.
Damn it! Why don't you know everything about Duckfeed?
Let's see, Jala. What does Sam say?
Sam says, "Hatoful boyfriend." I'm for that. That makes me laugh. I like it.
Yeah.
So.
I would like to play that as well. I've seen the first 15 minutes of it be played, but nothing past that.
Is that on iOS or is it just?
Definitely PC.
I don't know if it's on iOS. Yeah.
So I just I have it on PC. For some reason, I would feel better about buying it again on iOS to play, like when I'm laying down in bed, than I would about buying it for, say, Vita or something like that. Good
news! It is $4.99 on iOS.
Oh shit!
My dear.
That is reasonable.
Right.
That is reasonable AF.
Yeah.
Let's see, Ben. What does Ollie say?
Papers, please.
A game called Papers.
Papers, please.
Wait, what?
Please play Papers.
No, I understand that he's asking us very nicely, but what game?
Man.
Papers, please.
We'll never know. There's just not enough information.
Yeah. Let's see. There is a reply. I'd written a long post, but the only important bit stayed. Let's see. Yeah, but sorry, my brain broke there for a second. I was trying to read and talk at the same time.
Yeah, well, it cut in.
He gave supporting arguments for Papers.
Yeah, for Papers. Again, this is a very strange game. Dennis, what does David say?
David says Fallout 4 with Gary as guest host. I've got that one sitting in my backlog.
Oh yeah? Did you pick it up over a sale or something?
I picked it up from David when he gave me the PS4. I got a massive amount of games to play from him with the system. So
neat.
That's there. Whenever I have 200 hours to spare, I'll jump into Fallout 4.
That's the thing about Fallout 4, isn't it?
Yeah. I know it's a deep, deep hole I'm going to fall down. I just got to decide when.
Yeah. Let's see. Wait, which one did that? That was
David.
That was the.
Oh, I read it. You
read that. Okay. I'll pick up with James, who says Sultan Sanctuary. From what I've heard, it's a 2-person team, so it could be doable to have them both on. Get Gary on and maybe Lobos Jr. so we could hear their thoughts about the speedrun community and glitch runs. We're going to be doing that. We're doing a 3-episode arc on Bonfireside Chat about Sultan Sanctuary. So you're going to kind of get your wish. Sorry, guys, we're too prolific. We're scooping y'all.
They just want Gary to be all up in this biz.
That's the thing, right? Yeah,
you need that Butterfield bump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's I can't help but feel a little my feelings a little bit hurt. No,
I want to jump in with a story. I was listening to a podcast over the weekend. They were talking about the actor Gary Kole, who's in Office Space. He's like Lumbergh from Office Space.
Yeah,
so I tried looking him up, and then it suggested Gary Coleman. So I was like, oh, maybe it's spelled with a K. So I searched for Gary Cole, and your guys' pictures popped up, and I was like, oh.
Yep. No,
that's awesome.
Yep. Gary Cole is both our celebrity couple name and also the name if we were just fused into a celebrity. See also Glenn Gary Cole Ross. Oh man, that is ridiculous. Jala, what does Gordon say?
Gordon says, Gone Home seems like there's a real interesting one to really dig into. And then, I don't know who, this was Dennis who posted, I'm about to make you really happy. And he linked to the bonus level that was about Gone Home.
And then Gordon says, I'm very happy now.
Yeah. This is one of my big regrets because, this came out and everyone's like, oh, you've got to play it. It's so good. And I was like, well, I don't know if it's out on Mac, and I'm not, I'll get to it. Like, it sounds like it's a good game. I should probably play it. And then, you guys did the bonus level because you should have. People like, that game was that good that, like, I can understand not wanting to wait forever to play it or to talk about it. And then I finally got there. I'm like, holy shit, why didn't, like, someone force me to play it?
That's what those people were doing. When they said play that game, that was that thing they were doing.
I know. So that is whenever I'm sensitized now. I need to pay attention, stand up and pay attention when I'm seeing that level of chatter around a game.
Yeah.
I very much regret missing out on that, but I'm glad it came out when it did.
Here's the thing. I played that way after that, but I'm not bitter about that because there are other games that I played because people said that they were so good and kept on telling me about them. And then I almost threw my Vita because of it.
Yeah,
and
you're
flipping
tables. Yep, there we go.
So
Okay.
I don't.
Recommendations are weapons. We understand.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, that was that was a lot of fun, and it's super weird because like now Steve Gaynor is kind of in our orbit. Like he participated in Duckfeed Duckfeed. I participated in Duckstream, and we're gonna be working with him again here on something pretty quick that you're gonna be hearing about. Like, yeah, that is just bizarre. How
this
that
is
happens.
The cryptic episode here.
I know, right?
lots of
foreshadowing.
Yeah, it's if you're not living, you're dying. Ben, what does Roop say?
Whoa, that's a little too cryptic. Now I feel threatened.
Yes, that's right. Somebody on the podcast will die. That'll be the cliffhanger for this episode.
Actually, we already talked about somebody dying because of the 187 episode. So.
Yeah. We're a little bit early. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Roop says Jane Jensen about Gabriel, and if there's any hope for a sequel now that companies are bringing retro back.
Gabriel Knight.
Okay.
The oft-mentioned adventure game. Yeah, but we've done a WAF about Gabriel Knight. Again, I'm sorry about this being a thing. I wonder if it'd be possible to get an interview with Jane Jensen. I think...
Dude, I've learned one thing doing this podcast, it's that if you bother people on Twitter, they are so almost universally nice and responsive. Like
cool.
I've had a kind of ridiculously high hit rate when I actually set my mind to, okay, I want to find someone from this game to talk to. Like, people are more receptive than you think. So,
but I was kind of interested in like bugging some of the people possibly that were showing stuff at PAX that had games that were really interesting looking. But then I was like, then I have to try to flag down Kole and see if we can do. And I'm like, that's the hard work. It's not even talking to the people.
Social anxiety is it's a real thing. Let's see. Dennis, what does Jeremy say?
Jeremy says it's an oldie, but I've heard Kole and Gary bring up the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction before. It's a PS2 era sandbox game with lots of things for Hulk to smash. The Hulk can also punt kick cows. Enough said. Yes, where can I find this game, please? On
PS2. I don't know if it's very expensive now. It's the team that went on to make Prototype. Actually, if you ever really? Played that, yeah. The Hulk can rip a car in half and use the front and back half as boxing gloves.
Yes. Doesn't matter. It's the punting cows that matters.
Yeah. I
like how there were probably meetings about this too, where they're like, we're going to add this ability into the game.
Yeah, it is exactly as fun as it sounds like. Yeah. Like that was one of those weird like B-level open world games for the PS2 that ended up being like way better than it had any right to be.
It's like Mercenaries, that series.
Yeah. I'm even thinking oh gosh, there was a Jaws open world game. Like you play it at Grand Theft Auto as Jaws. The shark. Yeah.
Just find boats to eat.
It's real goofy, as you would expect.
Echo the Dolphin went in a really weird direction.
Well, it's you can get it for Xbox for $263. The PlayStation 2 version is $31.99, at least offered on Amazon. I'm sure you could probably find it on eBay for cheaper than that.
Yeah, that's a good game. Let's see here. Was that? Did I read that? I've fallen off.
I read Jeremy.
You read Jeremy's. Okay, so I'll pick up with Jonathan, who says Sunless Sea, an adventure into the weird, and also another vote for Fallout 4. Sunless Sea would actually be a pretty good one.
Yeah, I'd be interested in doing that.
Yeah.
The next time I feel like starting a new game, that's the one I'm going to start. So
yeah. And
wait, am I the only one who hasn't played it?
I played it a little bit, but it was back before it was even finished.
I haven't played it either, so.
Yeah.
Well, timely too, since Sunless Sky is on the horizon now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and those developers they run in the same kind of orbit as Zach does, as the
Cool.
Kingdom of Loathing guys do.
And to be clear, by timely I mean we're so behind the times that it's come back around to be interesting because of the sequel.
Correct. Yeah. Let's see, Jala, what does Chris say?
Chris says, "Life is strange. I'm dying since I can't even talk about it with anyone." That's on my docket of stuff I want to play. So
It's a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that soundtrack is available. I would like to have that soundtrack. Yeah. Yep, that is that is good. But I've thought about doing that, but it's so long. In terms of like assigning that to a group of people, I would feel very weird dropping 15 hours on somebody.
Speaking of so long, Sean says Coder 2 with Brian Wade as a guest.
Yeah.
I love that. But that is I know that is probably not the best for everybody. But
yeah.
Coder 2 is awesome though.
You get a little bit you get a little bit more of that Avalon heat. You restore some of that missing content. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is that is a good idea. And Dennis, round us out with Tim.
Yeah, Tim says, how about something off the beaten path, like another Metroid 2 remake, Metroid Rogue Dawn, or Zelda Outlands? Might be fun to explore the seedy underbelly of the indie community. Mwahahaha.
Zelda Outlands. What in the world is that?
I was going to say, deeper cut than I've got.
Yeah. Weird.
You
It looks
needed
like
to have a more sinister laugh about that, by the way.
That's as sinister as I get, man.
Yeah,
Tell me where to pick up a better sinister angle, and I'll go to school on it.
This looks like it's just like a ROM hack, huh? And you can also do an NES Cart Repro for it. I had no idea. No idea that was a thing. Thank you so much, everybody, for writing in. Those are all good. Those are all very good suggestions. There's some in there that I think we could actually move on.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you want to, this is weird because I personally don't have an idea for what we ought to do. It's very strange to say
have
hey,
some. I'll give an opinion.
Go do it.
Okay. Hand of Fate. I need to finish playing that game, and also Hand of Fate 2 is coming around, so that's a thing that should be. And it happens to have so many different types of games, like game styles in it, genres that it kind of crosses into. That I think it kind of crosses into a little bit of a bunch of different realms of things that all of us like. So that's why I think that would be a good one. The other one that I would suggest would be, once I have $90 Resident Evil 7, provided that we bring Allison in. So.
Yeah. And you mean physically, so that we can all play the VR version on her, on
her
PlayStation VR.
Well, that could be arranged in June-ish. So anyway,
yeah. Let's see, Dennis, did you have any?
I didn't. I've Kole kind of mentioned we've been discussing games that we all want to play recently. I realized I love Machinarium. I think it's amazing, and I've technically never finished it. So just a fire under my ass to actually go do that would maybe make sense.
Yeah. Ben, how about you? Do you have anything cooking that you think would be good?
So I think offline we mentioned a bunch of different games. Basically, all the ones I listed were games that I haven't played yet. So that was the the more selfish reason to do it. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of good suggestions on here as well. So I'm I'm pretty down for whatever.
Yeah.
Even the games I've already played before, like Life is Strange, I wouldn't mind going back and playing through a second time. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and Contrast is a really fun, cute, short game that would be a good one too.
Yeah. That's that platformer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The noir platformer, Helio.
Nice. Well, yeah, we're going to have to go back and listen to this and pull all that stuff out and take a look because, like we said, we are working on something. Let's take a... so if you want to participate in these in the future, go on over to facebook.com/thelevelpodcast and watch for those to go up on Tuesday afternoons, thanks to either Jala or Dennis, and also the community people who recommend things for us to ask the nice people.
The grind.
Now it is time for the grind, where we talk about the games we've been playing over the past week or so. Dennis, since you were not here last time, I'm going to ask you to lead us off.
Yeah, man, I got a shit ton of stuff, so I'll try to keep it succinct and focus on the most exciting stuff. But it's been a busy 2 weeks for me. Got some good gaming in. The first thing is, I guess, on the hardware side. Had a birthday recently and picked up a new mouse and keyboard, which I know that they're super good gaming mouse and keyboard because they glow blue.
If you don't mind me asking, which what kind did you get?
I'm almost embarrassed to say it. The Devastator 2.
Is that a Razer? Is that a Razer thing? That sounds like a Razer thing.
The Cooler Master?
Oh.
Whoever that is. Again, I just searched for good reviews, and this one rose to the top. So I am now gaming on the Devastator. But my headset glows blue, my Samsung Meteor mic glows blue, my mouse and keyboard. It's like the official color of high performance gaming gear, I guess.
the $12 Switch that I have that lets me switch my mouse and keyboard over to my Windows PC, that glows blue. Everything glows blue.
It's a thing. Yeah. So got that. Oh, go ahead.
At PAX, they had some rainbow-colored keyboards that the keyboards glowed all different kinds of colors, and they shifted colors, and depending upon what was happening in the game, it would blink different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's that's a Logitech thing, I think.
I saw one of the Hearthstone World Championships. They had each contestant playing on one of those keyboards, and they had it in full rainbow mode for the entire tournament. And I don't know how they didn't flip their shit, because these people are hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line. They're trying to work through these insane different probabilities and scenarios and focus on this turn in the game that they're playing. And they've just got Skippy the Rainbow flashing in the periphery of their vision the entire time. It's the visual equivalent of someone playing polka music the entire time.
That is such a good. That is a good comparison, Dennis.
Yeah. So I like my blue versus rainbow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But excited about that. I also got to try the Samsung Gear VR.
Oh.
My brother is like a super couponer type of person.
Okay.
Just very much deal oriented. This is Rob for those of you on the show who know him. Mm-hmm. He's an actuary, so min-maxing everything is kind of his deal. And he realized that, I guess, by signing up for Motorola or Samsung has their own Bitcoin type of thing.
What?
And he's like, yeah, they had crazy incentives for you to use it, just like their remote pay option, I guess. And he's like, I realized I could just use this for everything, and because of all the incentives they had put on it, as long as I paid attention to it and there wasn't really a downside, he literally got it for free in about a month of using this reward program. Which, again, going back to the Fire Emblem and re-rolling and so he's found a way to do that with rewards programs. Brought it over. I played a kind of a rudimentary puzzle game where you're placing cubes just in 3D space. And that was interesting, just to kind of get yourself oriented. And had that thing where I'm literally standing up in the room and the game is played 360 degrees, so spinning around and just completely losing track of which way I was oriented was interesting.
Yeah.
Did you fall over?
I did not, thankfully.
Right.
I also it wasn't so much a game as it was just a video. Did a roller coaster sim, and I've never been a person to be bothered.
He's gonna keep asking for everything you say, like even when you move on to.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a hit. I can feel it.
Let's say yes, just to get you off my back. No, it was.
Are you okay?
I was fine.
Okay.
I never really suffer from motion sickness, the way that it hits some people. The closest I get is like in the passengers. Yeah. Well, a lot of people, right?
Yeah. No, I'm just a very dramatic little bitch about it. But go ahead.
No. It's just because the way he said some people, it was just like.
Depending on who you ask, being a dramatic little bitch about it is probably a pretty good definition of a podcaster.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I said that word. It was just it was the most impactful one that I could say, and I only applied it to myself. So
no, I gotcha. Basically the worst, it was pretty intense with the roller coaster going around and up and down, and in very claustrophobic spaces as well. And it made me vaguely feel the way I feel if I ride in the passenger seat of a car. Which is to say mild discomfort, but nothing that I would like register as a sickness or, being in any danger of throwing up. I think a large contributing factor of that is that I wasn't in control of the car as it was moving.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I got into one of the, what's the machine arena combat game, the mech combat game that they have for PSVR? It might just be called like mechs or something.
Like shots with a Z.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think if I was in that kind of game where I was actually in control of the direction that I was moving, or that the camera was moving, I would be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was entertaining, and reinforced that VR is something I would like to experiment with further.
Nice.
So that's just the hardware side, folks. I'm not started yet. I'm about to talk some serious. We covered Fire Emblem Heroes, so that's good. I'm about to talk some serious sugar about a game called Invisible Inc.
And that's
Invisible Incorporated, INC.
This is by Clay, the
yes.
The Shank people.
Yeah, they do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
And this is no exception. The best way I can describe it is XCOM for spies. Like it's a grid-based game. And you're acting in turns, exactly the same as XCOM, except instead of managing like firing at each other, you're managing sneaking around the enemy. And so you're managing like line of sight and where the cameras are and hacking computer systems. And it works incredibly well. Like the synthesis of turn-based and stealth just brings out the best in both, it feels like. And that it's a great way to make sure that kind of that edge of your seat, moving out of the way just in time aspect of stealth gets carried through while still giving yourself the space that you need to like really think and calculate out, strategies and ways of attacking, different situations. So I've absolutely loved it. In the time I've played. The other thing that it's got going for it in a huge way is it is short and it is designed to be played through multiple times. Which XCOM is designed to be played through multiple times. Like you've got your normal mode, then you've got your really incredible difficulty modes, then you've got Iron Man on top of that. Then you've got a bunch of settings that play with the statistics. Then you've got the long war mod, and all those things are really cool and intriguing. But every time you want to try one of them, you have to invest 50 hours.
Jesus.
And that like you just
but it feels like 5 hours.
Well, if you're me and it's XCOM, you lose in 5 hours, and that's how you get through.
Right, yeah.
This one, Invisible Inc., is actually 5 hours long if you play through it, thereabouts. And I would say that the missions, like when you're actually on the grid moving characters, take about as long as an XCOM mission. But there's 10 of them instead of 50 of them. In the course of a campaign. And so that just makes it perfect for what I want from this kind of game, which is, I can get my bearings on an easier difficulty and I beat it. It's good. Now I can go back on the regular difficulty and try it and be a little more challenged. And then I can just get insane and play and do challenge runs and never feel like I'm overcommitting my time to it. So I've beat the game once. I'm probably halfway through my second run. And this is one where I legitimately do feel like I'll be able to, go back and play it again and again and get really cool experiences out of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's if I had to complain about something, it's really a petty thing, but in the game, opening and closing any door is a free action. You can do that without using an action point, and you can do it at any time. Also, picking up a body to drag or dropping a body at a location is a free action. Oh. But you cannot open a door while you are holding a body. And in a stealth game, it's very like this is yes, it's a stealth game, but really it's a door closing simulator. This is a game that I have to play in real life, but it's incredibly important if you're trying to like manage these lines of sight, which the game is built around.
Right. That
once you go through a door, you close it behind you, because if a guard you didn't know about walks into the room that you were just in, they can't see where you were. Or,
right.
Or if you leave doors open, you're inviting surprise sightings.
Right.
But if you're dragging a body and you walk up to the door, again, all free actions, but just this little bit of housekeeping you have to do. You have to drop the body, open the door, pick up the body, move one tile over to the other side of the door, drop the body, close the door, pick up the body.
Yeah, if they're free actions, it doesn't matter that it shouldn't be a problem for you to close the door with the body still in your hands.
Exactly. It is. There is no reason that should not be automatic, or even just that the door closes automatically behind you. I could see maybe a strategy at some point where by leaving the door open, you maybe you want the guard to see you for some reason, but you want to be able to get I don't know, like maybe you could want to leave a door open at some point,
right?
But because it's free actions, there's no reason for that to exist. And that's just, and so you get really good at like do click do click do click do. Okay, I've moved, one tile, and you get down to it's a 5-second process, but still it's annoying to have to invest that every time you want to go over a threshold.
Yeah. It's unnecessary friction.
Exactly. And which I don't like, but everything else about the game is pretty smooth. I found it really elegant the way they introduced new mechanics. Like they introduced the idea that some computer systems are kind of trapped, and there's like a random negative status effect that will happen, or not random, but an unknown status effect that will happen if you hack this. But the first time they introduce that to you, it's only on kind of optional stations. So nothing that's going to be like critical or screw you over if you ignore it. Mm-hmm. And then gradually it starts showing up on, cameras that are monitoring important hallways or, mission critical safes and stuff like that. So the ramp up into the skill set that you're developing, or the vocabulary that you're developing, feels really elegant. And I will say the game is completely randomly generated or algorithmically generated, so that the facilities are always a different layout and what have you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that, for it being random, it feels very well balanced to keep you always have, it seems, like just enough AP to do what you're trying to do, or you have to be like really creative with the way you move through a room to make sure that you pull stuff off. And so I've had a lot of really good tense situations that feel designed, feel like, oh man, this is like I came off perfectly that way, but I know it was an algorithm that was generated. At the same time, there can be frustration from, again, you're managing lines of sight, and you like check every corner of a room except for there's like this one little tucked away cubby that you didn't see what was actually over there. But you're like, this room looks completely unimportant, and I'm early in exploring the level, so I'm going to go elsewhere. And then that's like where the one door that you needed was. So you learn to be really paranoid about making sure you check everything because it's randomly laid out where the doors are. So there will be doors in the wall in places where it makes no sense for there to be a door in the wall.
Yeah.
But that once you kind of figure out, okay, I need to be careful about this, you can plan around it. But like I said, love this game. It's like everything I love about XCOM just put into a bite-sized package, and man, that's great. So
it's a beautiful game too.
It's got that Shank kind of art design to it.
It's like the Clay House style.
Yeah.
What is the Clay House style?
Oh, Clay is the name of the studio that does this.
Oh, okay.
It's their house style.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah.
And it articulates well. The other thing, I thought of another flaw is the dialogue, the dialogue is all voiced versus just reading text, but it scrolls automatically at the end of the the person talking. And so it's this really weird, like you feel pressured, like it's marching through the dialogue on its own. You can't like control it, which is weird. Like it's an odd thing to have, because there's been moments where like I wasn't paying attention, so I want to go back and read something that they said or whatever, and it's already skipped on to the next frame.
Yeah, you can't call up your history.
Exactly. Yeah. Which again, nothing too critical is getting missed, I think, but still, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
I got, the first time I played, I got a decidedly bad ending, and I don't know yet if that's just the way the game ends, and that's the where the way they decided to go with it, or if I missed something in the final mission that I should have gotten to get a better ending, or if I just missed something in the campaign overall.
Right.
And so I gotta look up a fact or something to figure out how to get a better ending.
You broke it.
I wound up killing a lot of people and maybe installing a supercomputer that will control the human race from here on out. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, all in a day's work.
This game is also apparently on iPad, and I only mention that because I have an iPad, and I might be able to play it on iPad in bed.
There you go. Oh, perfect game to play on Vita, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Through remote play.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it works seamlessly with that. So yeah, that's enough of me gushing about Invisible Ink, but please go play it. It's an awesome game.
Yeah.
And I'll do a short one for my final one, and a significantly more disappointing one, which I'm sorry to say that, but Ben, I tried Doom, and it just came off as not a fan. I love the idea of the momentum of combat, specifically with the shotgun and with the brutal kills. Like when it's just those two things, like I get it. You kind of treat the combat like strafing runs, where you start on one side of a room, you just run towards the other side, pick off whoever you can while you're moving. If you miss them, don't worry about it. Get to the other side of the room, turn around and run back through them. And that's a lot of fun. The second I switch to any other weapon, it just feels completely generic. And the character design feels completely generic. The level design feels completely generic. The upgrade design feels completely generic. Like, it's well done, but just nothing about the game stood out
feels
to me.
Special.
Even the shotgun to punching the head combat, which I like the idea of, half the time I felt like I didn't click the melee button at exactly the right time, and so I swooped past the person I was trying to hit instead of actually hitting them. Like if you try to hit them when they're not like stunned, essentially, it like pretends like they're not there. And I found a lot of situations where I felt like I should have been able to hit someone, or even if I wasn't going to kill him with that hit, like be able to put myself in a better position to finish him off with my shotgun, or I don't know what. And I found myself just being like, where'd they go? And then they're behind me, braining me. So yeah, unfortunate that it just, I've heard lots of people talk lots of sugar, and it just did not do it for me.
Yeah.
So it's completely generic is what you're saying.
How far into the game are you?
I got to the cutscene where the crazy lady is behind glass, and she tells you she's going to like destroy everything or something, and walks away. Again, at that point, I'd stopped paying attention.
Yeah, the story's pretty placeholder, but yeah.
And that's what got me. Like, there are all these like sly nods toward, like, at the very beginning, you get into the first room, and this like guy comes up on the intercom or on a TV screen, and it's like, hey, you don't know me, but I think we could be mutually beneficial, and here's some generic first-person shooter dialogue through a screen, and your character like waits a second, then rips the TV off its holder and just throws it down the hall. And I was like, yes, that is how annoyed I feel with the way first-person shooters give me story dialogue. And they made fun of it, and then they proceed to do exactly that for the rest of the game. Just give you story dialogue through, people talking to you through screens. So it's like, okay, like, even where you're making fun of first-person shooters being generic, you fell right back into that trap, which is a little heartbreaking that they were self-aware about that, but then, or they were self-aware enough to make fun of it, not self-aware enough to fix it.
To design around it, yeah.
Like, yeah, that feels like a really awkward middle ground to be on.
They took a dump on it, not realizing it was their car.
That was my
Time to drive it home.
You on the analogy. That was good.
What was the most recent weapon that you unlocked?
The I unlocked them in really short order. I picked up the plasma rifle and the rocket launcher.
Okay. Because I will admit that I think it took me maybe about 3 or 4 hours before I started getting into it. But yeah, I mean, I can definitely see bouncing off of it because I think the enjoyment that I had of the game at least was just in basically the combat flow, and like, I don't know, like that part I liked.
Yeah, and I feel like I got the best of that up front, and then everything else was slightly worse.
I see. Yeah.
There's nothing hateable about Doom. It just is bland. And again, from what I experienced, that it was just it felt like it's very well executed bland, but it's still bland. So I don't think I'll be going back to it after maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours put into it.
Gotcha.
So you're saying it's a rental?
It's a rental that you play maybe the first 2 levels of, and then realize that you could be playing Invisible Ink right now and go do that instead.
Yeah.
which was the choice that I made.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you're disappointed by it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good. I'll survive.
Yeah.
But that's a crap ton of gaming stuff. So
yeah,
I'll take a break.
Jala, I'm curious what you've been playing.
I've only been playing a couple of things. First off, I have played a little bit more of Steins Gate. I am almost done wrapping up Chapter 8, but have not gotten any new endings yet.
Okay.
The main dude is slowly having to undo all of the changes he made during the course of the first 6 chapters in order to prevent catastrophe. So you get to see how each of these different threads intertwines with all of the others, and so it's getting to an interesting place, but I've kind of had a lot of stuff going on in the last whatever. So yeah, like I said, I've had a lot of life issues lately. So I did not get a lot of gaming time in, but I did play some more Steins Gate, and I don't have a lot to say about it because like it's in between things. Like
right.
I mean,
you're just getting these individual stories. Yeah,
it's interesting, and it stopped with all the BS that was really irritating to me, like all of Daru's stuff, because Daru's just not in this part of the game basically. But and it's hilarious because of course everything that lives has to fall in love with the main guy because this has to be a harem anime, but whatever.
Yeah.
But like I that's kind of par for the genre almost, or for the medium of the visual novel. I mean, that's kind of like how it goes. So whatever, that doesn't really bother me. That just makes me laugh. I'm just like, of course, why not?
Like so I'll speak up to that. Like that aspect of you get into these relationships. Like those are specific endings that you get, and those endings are named after those people. But it's less like you've been lusting after them the whole time. It's more like the changes that we've made.
Yeah, this has changed things such that
like
this becomes.
I don't want to go back and like if things stay the way they are, we're kind of gonna end up together. So yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. It's not it's not grating on me anymore. As I figured it was gonna get past that at some point. I was just waiting for it to get past that. So and it stopped with all of the crazy tedium of let's explain everything. Yeah.
Like in egregious amounts of detail. So that's good. Like it's past that and it's moving on. Hopefully it doesn't go back to that at any point, but we'll see. So yeah.
Does it tell Does it tell you what percentage of the way through the game you are in terms of like how many endings you found?
I've only found one ending, so I've got a lot more stuff to go through yet because there's like a bunch of endings. But I would assume that there would just be like more of them and then just less ground to cover to get to the next one after a certain point. But so anyway, whatnot. Like I've been playing that.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else fruitful to say about that one. Now, the other thing that I've been playing is Overwatch. That's like that's random because I looked at it and then I was like, I don't really play team-based FPS stuff, but then everybody was playing it, and then I don't remember who it was, but somebody had posted somewhere in the Slack about, hey, it's $22 on this particular Asian website if you know, like Asian version of Battle.net if you go there. And like my mother bought it for me as a gift, so that way I could spend time with people and hang out and maybe de-stress, because she knows how stressed out I've been with all the bad things happening in my life right now. So that's how it was. And now bear in mind, I don't really play team-based FPS stuff. I don't do like PvP FPS. You know, that's not a genre I've really got a lot of experience in. So whatever. But I actually went through the tutorial, and almost as soon as I had gotten out of just like, here is how you move the character and use your stuff. Like I did that little tutorial bit, and then Cast Iron from the community was like, hey, let's play a game. And so we popped into some game mode where every time you die, you're switched to a new character. And I hadn't even played any of the characters yet. So I was just like, whoa, I don't even know what any of these things are doing. And now I'm dead. And now here I am again as somebody else. And I don't know what any of their things do. What's happening? So I had no earthly idea what was going on until we were done with that. And then after that, I went back into the tutorial area and then tried out every one of the characters in the test level just to see how they move, what their stuff does, and all of that, like just to get a feel for all the different characters. So, trying to find who might be viable for me to play per my style preferences. So, so far the list of potential characters that I might possibly like is kind of long, so I need to keep on testing them, but actually like go...
There's only like 20 of them.
Well, the thing is, it's like when I play fighting games too, like there's usually a long list of characters that I'm like, well, I could see myself using this character. I can see myself using this character. And then I end up, going from there, trying a few of them out until I find, like a groove with one of them. And then I'll, specialize with that character, but then, have some level of competency in all of these other characters over time.
I was going to say, Overwatch people usually have kind of like an offensive main and a defensive main, and some characters can go both ways. Yeah. Am I right, Overwatch? Ha 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 ha.
I was kind of hoping it would pass without...
Sorry.
Dennis is the dad of the group.
Anyway...
So I'd be interested to see, look for someone that you like on the attacking side and on the defensive side versus just like, well, who's my one going to be?
You don't have to tell me that. I do the thing. Like I know you got to be like flexible, especially if you're in a team situation. You have to be able to play more than one type of character. The two that I'm most likely going to be trying at first are Pharah and Widowmaker. So you've got an offense and a defense right there. Mm-hmm. But the ones that I am most interested in playing once I actually know what the hell I'm doing are Symmetra and Zenyatta, which are, support characters, but they're kind of like the most offense/defense balanced. So right. I kind of automatically go towards, a little bit of both. So I'm not really interested in tanks. But like Diva, maybe, but it's not my bag. So
yeah.
So I'll vouch for Symmetra. She's a lot of fun. Although she's very, very defensive.
The turret lady, right?
Yeah, the turret lady.
Yeah.
Bunch of mini turrets.
Yep.
Recently buffed as well, so.
If people say turret very fast, it sounds like turts to me, and I think they're talking like it's a cool word for turtles. Like, oh man, come over here, check out my turts.
Lady.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is that of all of the different types, offense, defense, tanks, and support, like the largest number of characters that I liked were under the support class. Like I like pretty much almost all of them. So
yeah,
like to some degree or other, but like that's kind of like a class where it's like, okay, you kind of need to know a little bit more before you get in there. And I need to like learn maps and all this stuff. That's a time sink. It's a time sink to get better at this game. So we'll see how it goes. I've had some listeners, like I've added some people on Battle.net, and I've had some listeners add me in there. I posted again on Instagram, which also cross post to Facebook and Twitter, an image that has my Battle.net ID on it. I think I'm Jala-chan 1707.
Yeah, they don't
or
make it
something
easy.
like that. I don't know, some kind of number. But anyway, Jala-chan, of course, because that's my name in places.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 1707. So if you want to add me on BattleNet, just be aware. I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a very confusing system.
I have to get used to it. So that's the thing. But yeah, I'll be there.
Have you just been doing public matches so far?
I literally played that one game with Cast Iron, and I figured out some characters. I have not played any other matches yet because I have not had time. I sank in like 3 or 4 hours of just fuddling around and setting stuff up and whatever that one day, and I have not been able to like go back in and mess with it yet. So
fair enough.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens whenever I get to play.
Nice. Anything else, Jala?
No, that's it.
Cool. Ben, how about you?
Rocket League, duh. No, I still am playing that. I've ceased playing Darkest Dungeon though, so I've dropped down to at least one always playing type game.
One standby.
Yeah.
Wait, did you beat it or did you fall off of it?
I didn't. No, I tried. I think I mentioned this. I tried the Darkest Dungeon. And I lost 2 of my characters, my level 6 characters, and it was like super early on too. So it was like, that makes it like a long time before I'd be able to beat the Darkest Dungeon. Mm-hmm. So I kind of don't want to put that much more time in it to just beat the one level. So yeah. But I don't know. I mean, if anybody has good like recommendations for good combos like on the last level that would be worth playing, then I might try that again. But I think I'm good on it. But
cool.
Anyway, one thing I don't think I mentioned to you guys, I was sick last week, so I had a sick day. But sick days are also like video game catch-up time days as well.
Of course.
So yeah, you just sit with a blanket and drink soup and play video games. It's great. But so I was able to play a couple games in my backlog. I played Transistor, which I had not played before. Who's played this game so far? I know David has. I think
it's in my backlog.
Okay, and then Kole, have you played this?
It's been on my list for a very long time.
Gotcha. It's pretty cool. It's the combat system's really good. It's like a kind of like a cyberpunk type skin on it. There's like a lot of like the theme's really interesting where there's like a lot of like references to programming in it. Mm-hmm. Your different attack moves are basically like programs that you execute, quote unquote, and like there's a kind of like a turn-based element to it where you can plan out like different attacks, and you have like a different like meter that like is like, okay, so moving from one place or moving over to an enemy costs a certain amount of points, and then attacking them costs a certain amount of points. But you can like plan out kind of an elaborate strategy and do that, but then you have to wait for it to recharge before you can do actions again. Otherwise, you can just fight people like as you go on the fly, similar to like how Bastion was. So you kind of have a couple different options for how you fight people. Mm-hmm. But the really, really cool thing of the game is how you can use the actions in different ways. So you can use an action as like a primary action, and then you can attach other actions to the action to give it like a secondary effect. So, for example, you might have like a fire-based action. So that might be a basic action you can do, or you can add like fire damage as a secondary effect to other actions that you might have. Yeah. So there's like maybe, I think when you beat the game, there's like 8 different action or maybe 10 different actions in all. So there's a whole bunch of combinations of like how you can chain things together and have like a completely different like strategy for attacking people. And I think that by far is like the coolest aspect of the game is like the combat system like has a lot of depth to it. And so it's like really cool to play around with that.
Yeah.
And then the kind of like third use for all these actions that you have is there's like passive abilities where it's like you can pick up loot from farther away, or with like the fire one, for example, it's like it'll spawn random fireballs in battle or something like that. So there's like 3 uses for every one of these actions. And so again, it feels very similar to like computer science-y, where it's like everything's kind of like flexible and component based, but there's like a lot of really cool interactions with it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And so the combat system's amazing. That's really cool. And then the music's really great. The dialogue's really great. The voice acting's really great. The aesthetic's very similar to Bastion, in terms of like maybe even though it's a different like skin of style or whatever, like how you're basically walking at not like a hexagonal or whatever, but
it's like an isometric kind of thing, like isometric at a distance.
Yeah, and then like a lot of parallax on top of that, and but yeah, so I mean, it's a cool game. I haven't beat it. I think I sunk maybe 8 hours into it or so, and I'm like very close to the end. I might see it through at some point, but again, like similar to Darkest Dungeon, like I'm pretty good on it. Although I was talking to somebody about it earlier today, and they said that it was probably worthwhile to see it through to go to the end. So I might do that.
Yeah, that strikes me as a game. I haven't finished it either. That strikes me as a game that would have a very satisfying close.
Yeah.
Super giant, man.
I think perhaps one criticism I'll lobby on it, or even it's kind of like a weak criticism, but I guess one thing I miss about Bastion is I thought the one thing that Bastion did really well is having like the home base territory. Like they did an amazing job with that, and like playing Darkest Dungeon's like almost like a direct copy of like that sort of mechanic as well, and both of them are really nice. But that's something that's kind of lacking in Transistor. They have kind of like a home base environment that they try and make, but it's not 100% the same, or at least there's not like an upgradable ability to it. There's more like this is a spot you can relax sort of area and like listen to the game music, which is kind of probably a nice feature for a lot of people. But yeah, that was one thing that I missed about Bastion that didn't make it into this game. But yeah.
Sounds like you're doing so much customization on yourself that like having a whole separate base would be a little bit redundant.
Yeah, I think their attention got pushed to the combat system and kind of the intricacies of that maybe. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a good game. I forget how much it costs on Steam. I picked it up when it was on sale, but I would say it's definitely like a $20 game for sure. It would be worth that much, I think.
Oh yeah, it's probably like a 15 or 20. Like,
yeah. So after playing that, I switched to one other thing in my backlog. I started playing XCOM 2. That game is so good. It is so great. And it's as good, if not better, than XCOM, and that's really hard to do. And it's actually different from XCOM. I mean, because that was one thing I was worried about with XCOM 2 is I thought it would just be the exact same game as XCOM, which is fine. But I mean, you played XCOM, so. But it's definitely nice. They add a lot of new enemies, and they don't use a lot of old enemies. I don't know if there might be like a few that are like similar to enemies in XCOM 2, but for the most part, they did a good job of like completely like Sectoid, for example, is like their basic alien. Like in the previous one, it was like a 3 health guy. He could buff like another Sectoid, and so you'd have to kill the one who's doing that. In the newest version, the Sectoid has like 6 or 7 health. He can bring dead people back to life and have them attack you as like zombies, which is similar but kind of different. He can mind control your people. Like he's much more dangerous, and that's like their basic enemy. So it feels like it's a lot harder in XCOM 2, or at least like, on every turn you're just like, I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this one. The one issue I've ran into so far is it seems to encourage you to save scum a lot more than the first game did, because it gives you like a running list of auto saves of basically every round that you've played. And so it is very easy if like something goes south very quickly to just be like, I'm going to rewind that ability.
It gives you version control on your rounds?
Yeah, it does. So I'm going to delete that branch and revert. So
you pretty much need it at some points.
Yeah.
Especially when you're first learning the game.
Yeah. So that's one thing I feel. I mean, that's not a criticism of the game. I just feel kind of scummy about myself because, like, they're like, they introduced. So they changed up the classes in XCOM a little bit. They have like what they call a specialist now, which is kind of subbing in for what the medic was in the last version. But what's different about this one is he has like a drone attached with him, and a lot of the special abilities come through the drone. And the way you upgrade the character, he can either be a medic like healing type character, or he can be like a hacky type, like take down all the computers on the enemy's team type character. And And so that has like an interesting feature where you can hack like mechanical things in this game. And so that's like a new mechanic they added where it can either be like doors to open them up, or they have like if there's like kind of like security posts around the map where if you like walk through them, it will trigger an alert for the enemy, but you can hack them instead. And they have this cool like ability with hacking where there's basically two options you can choose from when you hack, and it's literally like an RNG that they do of like 100% or whatever. And so it's like, well, 50% if you can pick this option, and 50% of the time you'll have a success and you get this minor benefit, or you can do this where like 10% of the time you'll get a success, but then you get this like huge benefit. And so sometimes they'll have options like that are kind of interesting. Yeah,
it's interesting the range like that. It sounds like, oh, I'll just always go with the 50% that it was because it's safe. Because 10%, like, are you kidding me? Like, it'd be stupid to roll 10%. Some of the benefits that they dangle in front of you for the 10% are just so tempting. Yeah, you almost like have to. It's like your research will, or and it's like out of just that mission. It's like, hey, for the next 2 weeks in the overworld, your research will complete twice as fast. That will literally change the entire course of your campaign. Yeah. And so a 10% chance for that, and like most of the time there's also a fail state. Yeah. So to be like, and if I miss, I get one extra enemy squad dropped on me. It's worth risking that if I can do this, because if I can get that benefit, that puts me light years ahead. So they do a good job of making it not an easy decision.
So this is where the save scumming comes in for me, because like I will try it and then be like, oh, it didn't happen, I'm gonna reload, and then not do that, And so
you need to turn on hard, man, to keep yourself honest.
Yeah, probably. The one that I typically do it on is there's like one option where you can hack a mech, like an enemy mech. And the riskier option is it will be on your side for like 4 turns. And so this, and if you don't do it, it just strengthens that mech and he's still on the enemy team. So you made your situation worse. And so with that one, it's like the 40% option is to turn them to your side, or it's like maybe 45%. And then like the 90% option is you just shut them down for a couple turns. So the 90% option is like really low risk. You're going to almost guaranteed to get that. But it's like a half chance to have it be on your team for 4 rounds is like a huge change in the game, because it's like that. Because all the enemies will attack him then, so like they're not attacking you, and then like you can have him kill off some of their enemies. It's like, it's pretty strong if you can get that going. So I don't know. So the game's really awesome so far. I think they do a better job in this one, where there's kind of like a mechanic they added where there's like it shows you the enemy's progress. There's like basically a secret bad thing that they're working on, and you only know a little bit about it, which is kind of like a XCOM trope or whatever. But they have like a progress bar. Essentially, it's saying like, here's how far along the enemy is on their progress. So if you can like,
so tense.
So it's like if you can take out these facilities, you can slow down their progress a little bit. But like every couple of weeks, you'll see that bar like increase one chunk, and you're just like, oh no, like this game is slowly getting a worse and worse state, which is pretty typical XCOM. So, I don't know. So I've enjoyed it a whole bunch. The only downside with the game is it takes a long time to play, since like, every mission maybe takes like 30 minutes, even though it feels like 5 minutes. But so it takes a while to get through all of the missions and get through the progress. But
it's a lot of time just staring at your screen trying to figure out what to do. Like, it doesn't look like you're playing the game during those 30 minutes, but there's a lot of playing going on without ever hitting a button.
Yeah.
I'll be interested. This is making me reflect on my experience. The thing I was worried about going into XCOM 2 was like, hey, I learned the language of XCOM 1. And that part of the, what made XCOM 1 so amazing was coming back to, starting a new campaign after I'd beat it for the first time, and just seeing how much more I knew and how much better I was at the game. And so I was kind of worried that I'd maybe kind of plateaued, and that starting XCOM 2, since it's, a sequel to the game, I'd kind of start on that plateau and wouldn't have as much to learn. But when I went around and started my next campaign, I came back and was like, oh my God, I understand so much more about, how this game works and what the right strategies are, everything like that. So that arc was there for me as, in the second game as much as it was in the first game. And I'll be curious to see if that's the case for you as well, that you feel like you really are learning and mastering new things, even though someone looking at the two games next to each other would say that they're similar, you know?
Yeah. It definitely felt like they hit the reset button when playing the second game, because it just feels so much more impossible now, where it's like, one mechanic they add, and this is a mild spoiler, so I very much apologize for this, but one mechanic they add is there's a mechanic where you're like saving people is one of the mission types, where it's like there's aliens and they're just shooting civilians, but if you can get your people to them, you can save them. They added a monster that is disguised as a human, so like you run right next to the person to save him, and it turns into a monster, and now you have to deal with that. So like, and it's like, it's so punishing, because like that's like the one time where you might not take cover. It's like, okay, I got to save the civilian just because I need to save X amount of these to win this mission. So I'm gonna go out of cover just to save this guy, and then it turns into a monster, and you're just like, oh no, like it just puts you in such a bad situation. Yeah. So
the secret there is you always focus on killing the aliens and completely ignore the humans in the level, because you will.
I noticed that the last mission that I played is if you kill all the aliens, then any civilians that happen to be monsters will just instant turn right then, and then you can just target them and fight them. It's like, oh, that's a little bit easier then.
And and you're not right next to them and already having used all your AP in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So XCOM 2, it's teaching you not to help other people.
What I'm saying is we need some extreme vetting of these civilians, and no, that's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but I really, really like the game. I guess the bad news is between this and Rocket League, I feel like that'll take up a huge amount of my gaming time in the future. So
as this slowly shrinks to a footnote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I'm super happy with it though. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually included. That's part of the Humble Monthly that just came out.
I saw that. Yeah. I had picked this up in a bundle, I think, for Thanksgiving bundle way back. But yeah, I think you can get it super cheap on the Humble Monthly bundle right now, like something like $6 or $10.
So, hey, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all, Ben?
Yep. That's all I got.
Cool. I'll do mine super quick. My version of Rocket League is, I mean, it has been for the past couple of weeks. Rocksmith continues being a good time. Mm-hmm. That is, it's quickly ceasing to be like, hey, I'm playing a game, and it's more just, I'm using a computer program to learn songs, and to get my half hour of guitar practice in every day. Mm-hmm. Somebody tried to be an observer, like, watch my play on Steam or whatever, like, hey, so-and-so wants to watch, and they're, well, if you want to watch me fuck up this song, if you saw, I can never figure out how to actually accept one of those things. Like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's like a universal problem. I've not heard of like an easy situation of being able to like watch somebody's stream.
Well,
I
good.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's annoying about it is I'll get the little pop-up and it'll say like, oh, so-and-so wants to watch you play, like, whatever it is. Like, you've done this, Ben, like you've requested to watch, and then instead of like saying, hey, just like, hey, let this person watch, go ahead, go nuts, what it pops up is like to set an overall policy, like, do you want your friends to be able to watch you play? Like, there's no reason. Or do you want, do you want to like let people in? Or like, well, that's fine too. Do you want no people to, but like, just let me respond to this thing first before I set the policy. Regardless, I don't know if that person saw me butcher My God is the Sun by Queens of the Stone Age. It was my first time out, or my first time. That was the first song of that session, and I was completely rusty. So sorry, buddy. You knew what you were getting into. But yeah, I've had a good time going on shopping for songs, and getting better at that. It is nice to play to pick up the instrument again. It had been a little while since I'd fallen out of practice. The other thing, the actual thing, is I picked up the first piece of Resident Evil 7 DLC.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is, they're releasing them, Jala, you talked about these a while back as your brief. They're being released as like tapes, so you buy like band tape 1 or band tape 2. This is band tape 1. Has 2 pieces of content inside of it, one of which is called Basement, and the other one is called Bedroom. I really wish that I had known what these were before I spent $10 on it, because bedroom is a little bit more along the lines of what I expected it to be. It is like a room escape kind of thing. So you are somebody who's been captured by this, Louisiana family. It's actually the person who you play as. It's the cameraman who was captured in the tape at the beginning of the game.
Okay.
Yeah. And people who play the demo got this. You play as Clancy, and you're trapped in a bedroom, and Marguerite, the woman who's infected, is bringing you in increasingly disgusting meals as you are getting out of bed and trying to solve the puzzles around the room. The twist of this is, and it's the whole thing, so I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but she comes into the room, multiple times. You hear her coming. You have to set everything in the room to be exactly the way it was. So
that's brilliant.
You're rearranging these paintings, and if one thing is out of place or if you leave the drawer open, she freaks out and you take damage, and if that happens enough, you die.
Does she just punch you or something? Or?
Yeah, she climbs on top of you and strangles you or something, or just does.
Bedroom stuff.
Yeah. Bedroom stuff. So that's cool, but it's only like a half hour of thing, which it's fine, whatever. The bulk of this, and what I think people are actually going to be getting the most enjoyment out of it, what people are going to be getting the most enjoyment from, is the basement scenario, where again you're playing as the same guy, but it is a wave-based horde mode kind of thing. So you have you're in the in the basement of the mansion, and you start out in a little workshop kind of room, and there is a machine that is constantly spitting out scrap metal, which seems like a weird purpose for a machine, but okay. And there's a workbench. Good.
Is it creating scrap metal, or is stuff being fed into it? Or?
I don't know. Maybe it's being fed from some kind of interwall chute. I'm not exactly sure. It's just making scrap metal out of nothing.
Like you have.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that spits out at a pretty consistent pace, and that is your currency for making weapons or for making first aid or ammunition, stuff like that. And the costs go up as you go about and do this, and you're just fighting wave after wave of the 3 kinds of enemy that Resident Evil 7 has.
So you make first aid out of scrap metal.
Yeah.
It's like World War One.
Made out of.
And also, first aid in this game is a liquid that you pour over your left hand. So I don't know what's up.
So yeah, that was one thing I was going to ask. So you said there's only 3 types, because there's only maybe you don't have to divulge this, but I thought the game only had 3 types of people that you're dealing with in the family. But is there enough variety in the horde mode, or is it
not
kind of they?
Not that I've seen. There's regular. They're called molded. They're big tentacle monster kind of things. There's the regular one. There's the kind that has the big blade arm, the tyrant arm. Okay. That's a little bit more resilient. Then there are the faster ones that crawl around on all 4s. You do have bosses. I got up to the point where Jack comes after you. And that is just a smaller version of the boss fight, except you don't have the environmental advantages that you have when you fight him, throughout the rest of the game itself.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So when I talked about this last week, this aspect of the game, the combat, it's fine and good, and I'm happy it's there because it adds, another source of stress and tension into this. But fighting these enemies is not the best thing about this game. And so to have this horde-based combat thing, it just really feels like I don't know. I just bought something that it doesn't measure up to what I want more of, I guess. I thought I was buying more of a thing, but then I got more of something I didn't quite enjoy. And it looks fine and cool. You unlock these little perks as you go along. Each of these is supposed to get a little bit better as it goes. I've only done a couple of rounds, so it didn't actually go, I haven't gotten very far into this thing, but I've kind of lost interest.
Yeah, it seems like maybe they're trying to hedge their bets with like the player types. But yeah, it seems like maybe a lot of people who play Resident Evil might not be also people who play Call of Duty.
Yeah,
or something.
Maybe, or like they've done this for a while. Like it's I never played the mercenary mode in a lot of the Resident Evil games. Like I've played them, but it was never like a main draw for me. You know, and this feels very similar to that. And based on the key art for the big DLC that's coming out, I believe in March, it makes me think that that's what it's going to be, is mercenary modes type stuff.
I do think it's cool that they like, it sounds like they have like unique modes for the DLC where it's like a completely different like game rule, you know, or like main game mechanic. Like that sounds really cool, but that's too bad if it's like not well executed or if it's like too different. But
I almost feel like I can't say whether or not it's well executed. It is Resident Evil 7 combat, which has a certain appeal. You know, it just wasn't my thing. The room escape stuff is more in line, and there's plenty of good stuff like that in the main game itself. So them doing more of it is kind of like, yes, please, more of that. So I don't know. I'm happy I didn't buy the season pass, because it was like, okay, I'll pay $10 for this. Or I could save a little bit of money. I'm just going to wait and see what this next one is before I put any more into this.
Yeah.
It's worth it to keep your options open.
Yep. So I don't know. That is a good and fun game, though.
I'm glad that it's.
If I get the courage to make it through the demo, I might play the game proper.
Oh, I still haven't done that?
Yeah, I'm still halfway through the demo.
Nice. The demo's real good.
Why do people think the demo is so scary? I was laughing at it.
Yeah, I am not as strong as you, Jala.
Horror is subjective?
I suppose. I mean, it was so funny. Whatever.
It's pretty funny. Okay. I mean, the main game is pretty funny too. There are points where it's incredibly tense, but yeah, I don't know. Cool, and that's all. That's all that I've got. I've got a couple of things that have kind of stacked up here recently, but I don't want to say them because that becomes a tacit promise that I'm going to talk about them. I don't know if I'm going to. So instead, I'm going to ask: does anybody have any questions about either of those things, either Rocksmith or Resident Evil 7?
Yeah, one thing about Rocksmith, what songs are you getting, and like what do you have on the horizon?
So I've kind of knuckled down and started really like trying to get my mastery percentage up on a couple of songs. Chief of which, the one most recently has been "I Appear Missing" by Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a good song, but very difficult. It's like 90% bridge. You know, so that is that is a problem, but it's a song that I like a lot, and that is that is kind of the, you know, what you're looking for. You know, and also because
also a long song, and yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome song, so yeah, that would be awesome to master.
Yeah. And then I've been attempting to because I was in high school once, and I have 2 years and a heart. They have a Jeff Buckley pack, and attempting to learn to play Hallelujah, which is a very difficult song because finger picking on an electric guitar is very difficult. So, yeah,
very cool.
Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I need to fight my urge to just like get a shitload of stuff and then be like, oh, I'm going to play this song twice, and then it's going to languish forever. So, yeah, I can't treat songs like I do games. All right. Well, that sounds like an episode to me. Do you want to button it up?
Button.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in to level number 184. You know the usual stuff you can do. We love it when we get reviews and ratings on iTunes. That helps more people find the show. We love when people talk about the show, which is always fun. I'm a small man, but I'm big enough to admit that I do search for that. So, yay and thank you. Additionally, Jala mentioned her charity race that she's doing to fight human trafficking, and all of that will be listed in the links of note on this episode. Jala, can you remind people when that is and what the organization is?
It is on April 22nd, and the organization is called Free the Captives.
Awesome. Is there anything that I'm forgetting?
Mm-mm.
All right, quick and to the point. I've been Cole Ross at Cole Ross on Twitter.
I've been Dennis Furia at DFuria on Twitter.
I'm always Jala-chan in places.
Sometimes Ben Merkel at Merkelizer.
And stick around for some titles.
Hell yeah.
All right, what have y'all got?
I wrote a lot of the titles in all caps because I thought that would for sure be like the title that I would go with. But then they kept getting better.
Well, then I just need to hear all of these titles. I have a bunch too, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Ben, why don't you start?
Started with Shiny Marth, and then in all caps I wrote down Glengarry Cole Ross because I thought that was great. And then I wrote The Devastator with a lot of underlines. Then I wrote the visual equivalent of Polka music. And then bedroom stuff.
Okay. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I had Shiny Marth as well.
Okay.
I had the Cryptic episode from when we were being cryptic about everything. And then I have Interwall Shoots. And that's it.
Okay. Jala, how about you?
I have Shiny Marth also.
Okay.
The internet is read only. Papers. Door closing simulator.
Okay.
Completely generic. Bedroom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like World War I.
Okay. Okay. I need to figure out how to stylize. I'm just going to do World War One with an I. I have Racketeer Raccoon.
Yep.
I also had Shiny Marth. And then I have Shots and all exclamation mark, or in all all caps.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. So it sounds like Shiny Marth wins it by a vote, unless somebody wants to make an impassioned plea.
I would
No,
make
I
an
like Shiny
impassioned
Marth.
plea.
What's
I would
that?
make an
Ooh.
impassioned plea against it because I wrote it down because it was the first goof,
Yeah, it's a pretty.
but I don't know if
Yeah.
it's the deepest goof.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the funniest one. It just happens to be the first thing that everybody happened to strike on, and we were
Yeah.
all fresh.
The visual equivalent of Polka music is, I think, one of my favorite titles. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Like Gary Cole Ross's, I like it, but I don't think it's as accessible, or I don't know if as many people would like it as I do.
Yeah, it's also been it's a joke in like other channels in the Slack.
Okay.
I'm fine with the visual equivalent of polka music. Actually, I think that
Is it going to be too long, or that?
it's a little long. I don't think it's too long. I think it's been a while since we've had a long one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, visual.
Do the thing.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. That's it.
Doom.
Great. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm very tired.
Cole, I shared a doc with you about video games to do for a bonus level.
Yes.
I took the liberty of adding Incredible Hulk as the favorite for everybody, so I hope everyone's okay with that. But
Okay. We need to set the ceiling. Yeah.
well, for the second bonus level, that's what we can vote on.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool. I'll take a look at it.
All right,
All right.
see you guys.
Good times, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, see you around.
Have a good
Bye.
night.
Night, night.
Bye.